Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I have Max and Terry here for knocking out their second segment, and it's window's about to close, so we need to do a little review of Everton's transfer situation with our transfer talk. So, guys, we just had our second signing in Digne. Previous signing was Richarlison, and I think we're all three pretty pleased with how that's panned out so far in terms of those two signings. The possible incomings, well, there's a really long list. And this is not the full list, mind you, guys, because we don't have an hour to only talk about this. But here's a list of the hot rumors, the ones that are very recent that I've seen in the past 3 days. And what we'll do is I'll list off the rumor, and the guys will kind of give a little kind of a yay or nay. And if they have another brief thought, they can back it up. So we'll start off with Yerry Mina. By the way, I heard the pronunciation of his first name may be Jerry, like it's part J and part Y. And it'd be pretty cool if it was Jerry Mina. Just saying. I don't mean a lot of other Jerrys. All right, so anyway, I'm an idiot. So, Max, why don't you start us off with Mina? What do you think?
I think it'd be a brilliant signing considering our current situation in terms of centre-backs. I think it'd be a godsend if someone like him came in. I heard Manchester United are ramping up the heat in terms of pursuing him, so I can't exactly see that one coming off.
Terry?
Yeah, be a good signing. I think he's miles ahead of the centre-backs we've got, which isn't saying much really, but I worry because if he does come, his attitude already doesn't, I mean, if what we're reading is true, doesn't seem like he's overly keen to come, which means will he be overly committed if we go through a bad spell? I worry that he might get a bit lazy and a bit disinterested if things aren't going well. But I wouldn't sniff at him for a second. I think our centre-backs at the minute are a crisis and we need to sort it out.
Yeah, I like the potential of this signing. Gives us, another giant in the back who has some pace and has a little snide. I like it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I almost feel like, I do feel like, I don't almost feel like it. I feel like he's been sort of using us to get a Champions League side interested, and he's been waiting. It's almost like, you asked a girl to the dance, and she said, maybe, hold on a minute, and then you're waiting till literally the day of the dance. She's like, well, I thought this other guy was going to ask me, And you're like, no, I don't want to go with you anymore because I'm your silver medal. You know what I mean? I don't really want to. I don't want to be that. So I don't know. And there are some other solid possibilities out there. One of them resurfaced today in Lascelles of Newcastle, who I think is a great player. I don't know if we can afford it, what they would want, but I want it to happen. I think he's great. Terry, what do you think?
I really like him. I think he'd be just what the doctor ordered at the back. He's a leader. He's committed. He's fast enough to play a high line. I'm not sure he's super fast, but he's fast enough to play the way Silva seems to want to set the team up. I think we can afford to buy him. I don't think Newcastle can afford to sell him because of the floodgates that had opened. Mike Ashley is not above selling a player who Newcastle fans don't want to sell, but this one, with so little of the window left, he might lose his manager over it. I think he'd be more difficult to get in many ways than Mina.
Yeah, I think his career trajectory is just kind of one of those just going up and up and up. He was great at Forest, and he just continued to be even greater at Newcastle. Obviously, captain, a leader that we desperately need, particularly at the back. I was having this discussion on Twitter the other day, though. I don't think we can offer him anything that Newcastle can't. Really, I mean, we can't offer him European football, and aside from the ludicrous wages, which has already landed us in a lot of trouble at the moment. Yeah, I just don't see what we can offer him. So from his perspective, wait another season at Newcastle, and obviously one of the big top six will become sniffing around. So from a realistic approach, I don't think we could get him.
I think if he buys into the project, he might be in. If Silva is as convincing as he's starting to seem like he is with certain players, it seems like he connects with certain players, and then they do nothing but gush over him. Just those certain connections. So if he's one of those, cool. I love him. I think he's great. I think I would prefer him to Mina, just because of the Premier League experience. But I think he'll cost over 40. Because I think Newcastle will overvalue him like crazy because of exactly what you just said, Terry, being so late in the window. I wish. That's what I'll say. Marcos Rojo at United, where a lot of United folks are thinking this is already a done deal, because they said that Everton posted a pic of him on their Instagram, but really, it was them talking about the newspaper articles that are out about, you know what I mean? It's the same thing they do all the time.
Yeah.
So that's not really evidence of that. Max, what do you think about Rojo?
I've voiced my opinion on him quite clearly. I think at the moment, beggars can't be choosers. And a lot of people slate him. He seems to have the same temperament of Funes Mori, and he seems quite typical of a South American centre-half. But that being said, look at what we've got. We can't be fussy. I think the last few trophies that Manchester United have won, he's been an integral part of the winning. He's played in finals, played in semi-finals. He scored that massive goal for Argentina in the World Cup this summer. And a man for big moments is again what we need.
Terry,
I don't mind the link. I prefer he'd go over a lot better, I think, with everyone as if he was one of two centre backs to come in.
Yeah,
definitely.
But I don't think that's in the cards. I think everywhere you listen now, it's a centre back, a centre midfielder, and a forward. I don't think two centre backs is in the offer unless something dramatically changes and that they haven't foreseen. I think Rojo is a lot better than what we've got at the minute, because I honestly think the centre backs we've got, I don't think people appreciate how much of a problem it's going to be if we go into this season with the ones we have, because three of them can't play Marco Silva's style. They will mess the whole team up if they're playing. And two of those players, Jagielka and Williams, regardless what you think of them personally, they can't be coached any differently now. It's too late. They're too old. They can't be made to be different. So we need this centre-back to be a massive, massive signing for us. And I think Rojo is a good player, but he misses a lot of games through injury. So if you sign Rojo and he gets an injury, which he is liable to do, you're back to square one. So I think it'd be very risky if he was the only centre-back sign, and I think Mina or Lascelles would be a better option, despite how much more difficult both of those would be to sign.
Totally agree with both you guys. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. I think the fact that he's a Man United cast-off is turning a lot of people off, because we've had a lot of those, and not always do we have success with those. I think he's a stronger player than people are giving him credit for. And what's funny is he hasn't had a lot of red cards. People talk about how rash his tackles are, and they are, but he hasn't been sent off very often for them. But he does play for United. There are some rose-colored glasses when it comes to all that. So I'd be okay with Rojo. He's left-footed center back. Ben Gibson. We've been connected with him since the beginning of the window, and a lot of supposed ITKs have said, "Look, y'all are talking to him," and some people have said he's a backup option to Mina. So I believe he's left-footed. I believe that's correct. What do you guys think about Gibson? Max, you want to start that one off?
Yeah, you take him every day of the week, wouldn't you? The exact same response, really, to whenever we're linked with another centre-half. I think he was good when Middlesbrough were in the Prem, and he's always kind of been one of those players that you've just been waiting to come to a Premier League club.
Mm-hmm. Terry?
Same as Max. He's an improvement on what we've got now. I think he'd be a good signing. It's a yes from me.
I question his pace a little bit. I was watching some of his old videos, and it looked like he didn't look a fast player. You know what I mean? Like, he could be one of those that plays faster than he actually appears. But but at the same time, I mean, he's played a lot of games to be as young as he is. And he's been loyal. And I kind of like seeing that kind of thing too, you know. Next, Badou Ndiaye. He's a Senegalese player, works with Idrissa Gueye often. He's from Stoke, and the fee would be pretty modest in order to get him. He's a center mid. Now, what type of center mid has been up for debate? I believe he's more of a defensive center mid. So, Terry, what do you think about this possible signing?
I think there might be legs to it because he is very similar to Idrissa Gueye in style. He's a box-to-box tackler type of player, and they both play together for Senegal and like that. And that is exactly how Silva set up Watford. He had a number 10 with 2 box-to-box tacklers behind him, and obviously at Watford it was Tom Cleverley, and he'd step back when they were in the game where they defend more. I reckon Sigurdsson with Garner and Ndiaye would suit Silva down to the ground. I'd be all for that.
I argue not good enough. I'd just like to put that case forward. Obviously, you know, Stoke relegated, and if we want to be knocking on the door of that top 6, or, you know, pushing, challenging for European places, we need calibre.
I was expecting a player with a little bit more physicality in terms of height and width. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the players that Silva has in that box-to-box position, I know Doucouré was a big guy. You know, I feel like he was not. I mean, Ndiaye is like 5'11", and I feel like he's built a lot like Idrissa Gueye. He's just a very similar player to Idrissa Gueye. I don't know. I thought that he would normally look for a player with more physicality and a little bit more offensive, you know, prowess in terms of picking passes. Yeah. Having said that, before we got Idrissa Gueye, I wanted Ndiaye on our team. Drinkwater. That was a recent one, possibly on loan.
No, thank you. Chelsea cast off.
Okay.
Kindly, you know, tried to make his bones somewhere bigger and didn't work out.
Not for me either. I mean, if we got to deadline day and we couldn't get anyone else and it was him or nothing, I suppose. But I'd like to see us try everywhere else before him. I don't think he's worth going out your way for.
He's got a little bit. He can pick a pass a little bit better than Ndiaye can. Just kind of watching previous games of him, he does have a pretty good eye for a pass. He breaks up play pretty well. I just would want someone with a little bit more pace, I think. So, last, Cheryshev from Villarreal. Had a great World Cup with Russia. Plays on the wing, can play in the center. Terry, what do you think about Cheryshev?
I've only seen him for the World Cup. Did really well at the World Cup. I'm always a bit nervous about players who signing players on the back of a good World Cup. I know my brother Paul did an article for Toffee Blues about Cheryshev. He's a big fan, so he'll be pulling his hair out when he watches this, going, "No, he's great. We should want him." I think that's another one that's just a sort of one source link that probably hasn't got much to it. If Lookman goes, which it looks like at this point he will be, go for it, because Walcott is a good player. He is not, however, a consistently uninjured player, so I think we could do with someone else on the other side if Lookman goes, which it looks like he is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, and that is an absolutely brilliant point to make, really. Obviously, with the controversy surrounding Lookman at the minute, having a Real Madrid cast-off isn't the worst of options to go after, and obviously he'll have a lot of hype around him. A lot of interest will be, thrust upon him if he comes and he does well. Given the World Cup that he's just had and the kind of attention that he captivated from that World Cup, he's got the potential of being a really good player for whoever he ends up at.
Yeah, I think he's a solid player. I'm not sure if he's the kind of player who would feel like he needs to be guaranteed starting minutes. So if he looks in and he sees that Walcott's there and he sees that Richarlison's there, is he going to think, well, they've already got their starters, I might not get my minutes? Some players are like that. They feel like they need to be guaranteed those minutes right out of the gate. So that does it for this segment of Transfer Talk. If you are digging the videos, please subscribe. We're sitting close to 900, which is awesome. We're trying to make our way up to 1,000. We'll see. If you want to check out some of Max's articles on the Toffee Blues website, he's got one on our newest signing, Digne. He's got some other analysis on there too, so check that out. And since the season is coming up soon, Terry will start appearing on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. And yeah, I'm going to be checking him out there. So yeah, you should too. All right. I think that's it. Let's go do another segment, guys. All right. Bye.